video is brought to you by Letsynthesize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Hey, Dan Larsen here, welcome to the newest Synthesize Sunday episode, and today I want to show you how to add gain to your sound in your mix. It doesn't matter what sound it is, without pushing up the fader on your track through this little groove I made. Like always, you can download this whole project from my Patreon below, and if you want to dig deeper into production, check my academy, but right now let's jump into it. So the first step to make your synth or any instrument in your mix louder is to drop saturation or distortion on it. Now be careful with this, because as you may know, saturation and distortion in overall create overtones to the sound, but if you go crazy, you can distort your sound too heavily that, it just won't be fine. But with a tiny bit of saturation can be helpful. So here is this synth thing. So let's say I want to make it a little louder, but I don't want to pull up the fader on the track. This is why I dropped this saturation on it. Let's add 2 decibels of drive to it. So this is the most effective way to add a little more gain to your sound in your mix. And as I said before, be careful with it, because what it does, it creates overtones to the sound. So it does not push up the level on the track, it just simply creates overtones to the sound, and that can create an illusion that the sound is louder. Tip number 2, add some compression. Compressors can be a great friend to make your sound a little louder, because what it does is basically just evens out the peaks on your sound. So it pulls down the louder peaks and pulls up the quieter parts of your synth, and that will make your sound louder if you make up your gain. But be careful with this again, because if you have like reverb, delays and other stuff, you can easily easily ruin your sound. And this example, this synth sound is not the best here, because as you can see, I use an OTT, an EQ8, an echo device. So I'm not sure if I will be able to add too much using a compressor, because this is already a very heavily compressed sound. But in theory, with some nice compression, you can even add a little more gain to your sound in your mix. Yeah, so basically it pulls up the echo, so the delays and the reverb at the same time. This makes the illusion that the sound is louder, but again, on other examples, it may sound a little better. My next tip is EQing. Now let me show to you this Fletcher Manson EQ preset, and what it does is try to apply some treatment to the frequencies that the human ear is more responsible and more sensible to it. So as you can see, between 1.8 and 6K, the ear is very sensible. So this is where you need to pull down and decrease the frequencies if you want to create a very smooth sound, smooth for the ear. If you want to make your sound louder, just drop an EQ8 and increase that frequency range that the ear is very sensible to. Now again, be careful with it. You don't want to ruin the whole picture of your sound, the whole tone, but with some tiny touch, it can be helpful. You can go crazy with mid-sign compression or mid-sign treatment too. So for that, I want to add an audio effect track, and I want to make 2 chains, one for the mid and one for the side. I want to drop 2 utilities, click on the width knob and choose mid-side on both of them. So let's choose mid on the mid and side on the side. And from this point you can add, for example, compression, distortion or any other effects on the sides. And this is cool because it won't heavily change the output level of your sound if you tweak the sides only. So for example, let me drop an overdrive on the sides, but just, just a tiny bit, like about 10%. Obviously, from this point your sound will be a lot wider, but I think it's not a big problem and you achieved a little more gain to that synth sound that you are tweaking. Okay, so these were my tips for today, and if you know anything other, let me know in the comments, and also don't forget to check my academy and my Patreon for this whole groove. So see you next time. Peace.